Remember the good old days, when all we seemed to have to worry about was Brexit and maybe climate change? Well, not so good really, and not so old either. It was a time of real division in our society. A time when harsh words and strong opinions were expressed and angry phrases and accusations levelled against others that we disagreed with. The word betrayal was often used against judges or MPs or those who wrote large numbers on the side of buses. Not a good time. And yet now, even in the midst of this strange coronavirus crisis that we face, there is a new spirit in the air. We use the phrase, all in this together. We recognise that if we're going to come through this and come through this well, we can't afford to be divided as we have been. We express it in the way we applaud our NHS workers and others on the front line each Thursday night. We have a sense of trying to identify with them and show our support and solidarity with them. We see it too in the way we look out for those who are isolated and alone, those with nobody to care for them. We feel it in that sense of sadness we feel for those who are in hospital or in care homes and who can't be visited, those on ventilators who can't even have the touch of a loved one's hand near them. At a time like this, we hate the thought of being alone. We want to feel we're all in this together. Will it last? We'll see. But on that first so-called Good Friday, Jesus found himself alone. He had been betrayed by one of his friends, abandoned by the others as they fled, let down by Peter, who'd followed and then denied he even knew him. Jesus found himself utterly alone, because those round about him were not on his side. They were the ones baying for blood, putting him on trial, flogging him, nailing to the cross, mocking him as he hung there. And then the ultimate abandonment, that awful cry of desolation, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" as Jesus hung there completely alone. And why is Jesus experiencing that abandonment, that God-forsakenness? Well, it's because he is on the cross as he hangs there, identifying with all humanity in a way it's hard for us to grasp. He is taking on himself God's just judgment on all the sin and evil that there is in this world. And that's why, if we're going to understand the significance of the death of Jesus, and if we're going to understand why, in a strange way, Good Friday is a Good Friday, we need an honesty with ourselves. We need to be willing to admit that we are part of the problem, that there is something fundamentally wrong in our hearts. And all these divisions and hatred and anger and cross words, harsh actions, large and small betrayals, not just around Brexit, but that we are all, if we're honest, part of and guilty of. These are all symptoms of this thing deep within us that is the heart of the problem. It is in effect our desire to live for ourselves and go our own way, rather than live in relationship to God our Maker. We are in effect rebels. And we would deserve all the just judgment of God on us, and yet, instead, God takes it on himself in the person of his Son Jesus. And so Jesus experiences the anger of God against sin, the abandonment of God, the God-forsakenness that should be ours, and instead is his. But if we're honest, we are all in this together because we are all part of what put Jesus on the cross. But why is this day good? Because we can all also be part of the benefits of that. In place of anger and punishment and the judgment of God, we may know instead the forgiveness and the welcome and the new life that Jesus has attained for us. That's at the heart of the events of Good Friday. That's why it is indeed a good day, if we will be honest. We are all in this together, but we may all share in its benefits.